thank you for joining in. So just yesterday we did a series of tastings of all of your single vineyard wines. We did the 2018 vintage Cavarchione, okay, Casanova, dell'Aia, and the Istine vineyard, along with the 2017 Reserva. And we did them all side by side. And so it was a really exciting tasting, but I wanted to get the full backstory on these wines so that anyone who didn't get to come to the tasting live can actually get the wines and try it at home and watch this recording and get all of the firsthand information from the famous Angela herself.
The famous. Thank you.
Well, Angela, you're getting famous. I hear all of these wine writers and press reviewers, like they're all about some Angela Fronti.
Oh my God, davvero? Wow.
It is really exciting. Yes, I was told that if I didn't do an event now with your wines, it might be impossible to get your wines in the future. So that's how much.
I'm just doing my work, my job, so I don't know. But it's strange, the wine business, the wine world, because you look like a rock star. Is seriously. Also, in my mind, there are some winemakers that for me are a superstar, and so I'm like a fan, and so it's true.
Well, you have definitely achieved rock star status, at least in my book and in everyone here in Virginia who's been able to taste your wines. So if you remember back in 2020, December 2020, we did the same thing, and we did it Zoom, and a lot of the customers.
I remember.
So many people who did that back in 2020 came yesterday to taste the new vintages, and it was awesome to see everyone continue to fall in love with your wines vintage after vintage. So
good.
Thank you. Well, so I'd love to first just get a little bit of the background of your history with Istine, the family history, and how everything began, so people can understand you and your story along with the wines.
My family in the past, so the generation of my grandfather and of my father, they were a poor family. They were farmer, but they started to invent a job. So they start to make service to other wineries, like pruning, like cutting the wood in the forest, like cultivate the soil. And so my father was able to study, and so they organized this company, and now is one of the best company in making vineyards, or so built vineyards, new vineyards, or service in agriculture. One of the best in Tuscany and Umbria. So we are anyway an artisanal company. So this company is called Chianti, and by the time they were able to buy some lands for us close to Radda, to the home. And so they started to make our own wine, but it was a wine in bulk. So it was a second job. It was not the main job, the main business. Sorry, my English is terrible respect 2 years ago. So 2 years ago was not good, but now is more terrible.
Nonsense.
Because I don't speak too much English, and so if you don't understand me, stop me, and I can to say in another way what I'm in mind.
English is perfect.
And so they have the vineyard like a passion, like to have something of our own, and my grandfather start to make wine for us, in bulk wine, so to drink for lunch, for dinner, and they sell the rest of the bulk wine to other wineries. Okay, so in 2012 I started to work with my family. I took before a degree in winemaking, and I worked for other wineries in Tuscany. And so in 2012, I decided to move here in Radda, and we changed completely the way to farm, the way to produce a wine. We started to bottle the wine, the label. So it was really challenging in that moment for me. So I was also really scared. I don't know. I have many doubts because many wineries exist in the world. Chianti Classico is one of the historical appellation, and so I said, what I can do to be one winery that work well and that I can be able to make the wine that I love and able to sell, because if you don't sell, you cannot make what you want. So before to come to work in Radda, I was in another area of Tuscany, and I really miss the Sangiovese, and I really miss the Sangiovese from Radda. I was missing. So I said, we have to focus on Sangiovese because is what I love, and is a perfect grape variety to express the territory and the soil. It's really sensitive. So we started with the first vintage 2009 that we already collaborated in the cellar, even if I was not here, but I was coming sometimes. So it was a very small production. So 2009, 10, 11, very small production, 3,000 bottles per year. And then in 2012, we moved to be organic. And we start to work also for quality. So we take care of the vineyard in another way. And we start with the Chianti Classico, and soon with the 2 single vineyard, Casanova and Istine, and the Riserva. But of course, the single vineyard and the Riserva arrive later because there is more aging, but with very, very small production. So I think in with the vintage 2012, we produce totally 20,000 bottles. Now we are 90,000 bottles. So we improve a lot. But we improve also the quality. So every year I'm investing in new instruments, in people. For me, people is really important that work with us. So we taste together. I organize some lesson courses, come si dice, formazione. In Italian is formazione. And so we both one barrel each year or each 2 years, and different instruments that can help us in or do better what we are trying to do. And we also add other labels like in 13 Vigna Cavarchione, then we had a Rosato, a Merlot 100%, because we have some small land of Merlot, so I decided to bottle it, not to put in the Chianti Classico, but to bottle alone. They are less than 2,000 bottles, so there is more production. Then we started with a white wine. This is the 21st, is the 3rd year. Is a Trebbiano and Malvasia Bianca, so indigenous varieties, and we age it in amphoras. So it's nice because you are producing your wine and you can experiment with you like to try to use. And then we start to make a vermouth also. So we are a very dynamic winery, and so I'm happy because people that work with me, it's a great support in my crazy idea. And yeah.
Well, I saw that you had the Merlot on your website, and I'm very excited to try it because I love Merlot. And,
Okay.
but I don't think it's available in Virginia yet. But maybe next time I come visit you.
Yeah, because it's a very small production. So to be honest, I don't remember that there is somewhere in USA. And so yeah, if you come in Italy, see. It's a pleasure that you can taste and see. It's so particular because us also the Chianti Classico, we are very high. We are 500 meters as average of altitude. I don't know in feet how much is it, but here is close to be a mountain. We have a lot of forest, a lot of biodiversity here in this territory. So the wine, also the Merlot, it's very elegant, very fresh, and it's particular. Sangiovese more. So
Yes.
I'm a fan of Sangiovese. No, but it's also the Merlot is for me, it's interesting because it's an international variety. So you can compare a Merlot from California with one of South Africa, with one of Australia, so it's interesting. And also in Tuscany, you find a great difference between Maremma and Chianti. So yeah, yes. Please come. I wait everybody here in Radda.
I got to show all of the pictures at the tasting of the trip in 2018 in the spring and touring the vineyards. I think we only got to visit Casanova and the Istine vineyard. I don't think we got to visit the Cavarchione.
Cavarchione, sì, perché it's a little bit far because it's in Gaiola in Chianti, so probably we had no time, but next time. I'm also, because I love to make Peru, because when I started, to manage the winery, I said, oh my God, it's crazy because usually the winery in Tuscany, they have all the farm with around the vineyard. So we have the vineyard, come si dice,
spread apart.
Exactly, so different parts of vineyard. The biggest is 6 hectares, that is Vigna Cavarchione. The other are more smaller. So it's hard because you need more time to go from a vineyard to another vineyard, to follow your employee, to see what is happening, like disease. So in a vineyard it's raining, in another it's not raining. So it's not easy. But for me, it's perfect because I love Burgundy, I love Piedmont, and this idea to make single vineyard, I really like it. And so I said, okay, I have the perfect situation with different tasting, different altitude, different soil. And my dream is to obtain some parcel also in other area of Chianti Classico, like Lamole, or others, to have other single vineyards, so other identity of Chianti Classico. So if you tasted yesterday, maybe you find a difference in the glass of the vineyard, but I can tell you something. So Cavarchione, starting with that one in Gaiole, it's our lowest vineyard, so it's not very low because it's 420 meters of altitude, so it's one of the height, is already the height part of Chianti, but in our case is the lowest, and this is facing east, so it took a lot of sun in the morning. It's a different light, it's really bright. The soil is a mix of galestre and alberese, so limestone, and it's deep. Anyway, it's a very good vineyard because it's always perfect. I don't know why, but every harvest, each harvest is easier to manage respect to the others. So, and we produce, so it's also the most productive, and we produce a rosé wine also from this vineyard. So before to start the regular harvest, 2 weeks ago, before, we go to take some grapes, so to leave less grape on the vine, and that are perfect for rosé because with a higher acidity and less sugar content. So all three, the wines make the same wine process because they want to be a project to show the territory. So we took the best grapes of Sangiovese and we vinify in corking tanks. So the alcoholic fermentation and also the maceration that is longer. We arrive to 45 days. And then we move in a barrel. So now with vintage 19, we have a 30 hectoliter barrel. So 18 was a 20 hectoliter barrel. So we are improving because I need to have 3 barrel of the same size and I have to buy slowly.
Yeah.
And then, so 1 year of aging in wood, same kind of wood. Casanova dell'Aia, I don't know if it's the second that you have there because I can look. Okay, it's a vineyard that we have that you visited, and it's in very close to Radda village. It was the first vineyard that my father and my uncle bought in the 82. So it's like my age. I'm 81, so it's nice. But anyway, we have to renovate it, the vineyard. So the vineyard now was replanted in 2014. So
I saw the notes on this. It was originally planted in 1982, you said, and then it was replanted in 2014. Was that all of the vines, or is it just
no? I just leave a small piece of land, so they are 4 hectares, and I left 1 hectare because to make a crew. So I waited the other 3 hectares, they improve, and then we remade also the last hectare. So Radda is 500 meters of elevation and it's facing south, and the soil respected the other 2 is with more clay, so more round, smooth, a little bit smooth. And so for this reason, because of the sun and because of the facing, even if there is 100 meters of difference with the altitude of Cavarchione, the maturation, the ripening is really similar. So there is not so big difference. Usually when I finish to collect Cavarchione, I start to collect Casanova. Instead of with Vigna Istine, that I can take also 2 weeks before to start the harvest, sometimes more, because Istine is a vineyard that is in Radda as a municipality, but is out of Radda in direction of Castellina, and is exactly in the heart of Chianti. And it's surrounded by nothing, only forest and animals. It's very steep and very rocky, so it's really particular. Istine, if Cavarchione was the easiest vineyard to manage, Istine is the worst, peggiore, the terrible one. Because everything happen always in Istine, and so it need more care.
That's why it's my favorite wine.
Exactly. At the end, anyway, it's like when you have a baby that is not good at school, and you know, is always come si può dire, you know, so it's not very like so, and then at the end is you are crazy for him, and so yes. The Istine, Vigna Istine is like so. It's really complex, so it's lovely.
How many years did it take you to pull out all of the huge boulders and rocks from the Istine vineyard before it was able to be planted? Because when you showed me pictures of the tractors pulling out the really big rocks, and you just said the rocks were all throughout the vineyard and it had to be totally taken out.
Because okay, Istine totally is 550. But the last half hectare we planted a few years ago, and to make this small parcel, we take out many large stone, very big, and then many other stone. So it depends, because it was small, and my family is involved in making vineyards, so they usually go in the weekend to. So the first vineyard, the oldest one, they need a lot of year because it was really difficult to make. And I think probably 2 years, but I don't remember, I'm not sure. I think 2 years, but also because they stop and they start, and they stop and they start. So see, they need. It was not easy, and now it's 2 years that we are rebuilding terrace there, because so like this is the hill, perhaps from in this side there is the Istine vineyard. Here there is the street. In this other side, so facing south, in the past they were all terrace that the weather destroyed. So you have to know that the countryside in the past was when it was steep, there was terrace. But by the time when the farmer left the countryside and went to live in the city, they abandoned it. And so the wind, the water, the animals destroyed everything. So now, with all the stone that we take out from the vineyard, we are renovating the terrace. Wow. That is not very good for business, but it's really beautiful, and you have to come to see. I will send you some picture. And so my father really loved this recovery of the past and of the tradition. So we planted also some line of vineyard there, and some, because in the past when the farmer used the terrace, they have a mix, olive trees, vine, fruit trees, so everything. So we are doing, we have a lot of stone to use, so it's not a problem with the stone.
You always have so many projects. You have so many different projects that you're always thinking ahead in the future for.
We never stop. So sometimes I think I need an holiday, but
how about you come here to Virginia, I go to Italy, we both have a holiday in each other's.
We can exchange the apartment, is okay.
Yes. Excellent. Well, since the Istine vineyard, someone was asking me yesterday tasting this wine, because it's north facing, northwest facing, so away from a lot of the sun. Why did you choose to or why did the family choose to make the vineyard on the north side of the mountain instead of the south side to get more sun on that one vineyard?
And in that moment, I think everybody thought my father was crazy because if you studied for winemaking, so the perfect orientation is south facing, southwest facing. So to plant a vineyard in north facing, so high, so surrounded by the forest with this kind of stone, it's not very good. But now, to be honest, with the weather changing, so there is a higher temperature, so it's not easy to manage, as I told you. But to have different facing help a lot, because you have not, so some years are very hot, but some years are very cold. So to have a mix of different phasing of altitude help you in obtaining the equilibrium. So in the hot vintage, Istine can help because maintain freshness. In the very cold vintage Istine, of course, the alcohol degree can be very low, and so we have to work a lot in taking out some grapes or de-leafing or with many. So I think now it's important to have a different situation to have equilibrium. Of course, my father, when they bought this land, for him it was so he just produced grapes or bulk wine, so not quality wine. So for him was a good business because they were selling to a very low price. I think so. It was completely abandoned, so that they spent a lot to make the vineyards. So wow. I don't know if it was a good business or not, because they always told me, my cousin told me, oh, we stopped to count how much was we were. So the machine were our machine, people. So were our, you know, our people, my cousin, my uncle, my father, and the employee, of course. But so it was really, really, how to say, impegnativo. So. But now I'm very happy to have something north facing. Yeah, tastes good. And this is a big Le Vigne, the wine that you have as a Riserva. I want to be this equilibrium. So the 3 single vineyard want to be a project of to show the territory. So each wine has his own identity and strong identity. So with the, and some years it's better maybe Vigna Istine, some years it's better Vigna Cavarchione, or some people prefer one and other people another one because they have very strong identity. Le Vigne Riserva want to be a wine with a perfect equilibrium, with a perfect harmony. So we have the best grape coming from each single vineyard, and after 1 year of aging, we decide how much of each to put in the Riserva. So the percentage is never the same, can change, but it's always Sangiovese 100%, and they spend 2 years in the large barrel. So it want to be like so the best equilibrium we can obtain.
I love that you do barrel selection after 1 year. That's not as common. Most people would choose just like the best parts of the vineyard. They harvest it separately, vinify it separately, age it separately. But I love that you vinify all these, and then after 1 year, you do barrel selections to find your favorite to put into here. I think that makes it that means like that's different every year. It's a lot more work for you. But
exactly,
I feel like it's special.
It's true, and I wait 1 year because then is to be honest, is like now you're doing the 2020. So if you consider the harvest is 1 hour and a half, and because the wine change in 1 year in the barrel. So sometimes you have so you know the season, you know the vineyard, and you honestly say you are expecting something from that parcel. So you have an idea in your mind, but after 1 year, it can change. You can have some surprise because the wine is not only grape and sugar and acidity and chemical details. Is alive, and so there is something that happens inside that you cannot preview. And so, but after 1 year, you can better understand how you can mix or not the see.
Can you tell me the difference? People were asking the difference between the 2018 vintage in Rada and the 2017 vintage for you. Was there a big difference between the two?
Yeah, they are very different because the 17, it was vintage very dry, very hot. So many people doesn't consider so well the vintage because of the drought in the summer, but I really love it. It's fantastic, and I think Radda help us a lot because we are height, as I told you, and the forest give humidity to the in the vineyard. And also the roots of our vineyard go deep to find the water, so, and the humidity from. So our vine are resistant to the drought because they used to be in poor soil. So then many area of Tuscany start to collect their grapes very early, like end of August, early September, because they have a sur maturation. But we were not ready, and when I said we, I'm thinking to all the producers here in Radda. So we wait to collect, and 10 September, 15 September, start to rain for a week, more than 1 week. And it was a good rain. It was perfect rain for that moment. And so the production was not so high, but with this rain, it was like a miracle. The grape had regular ripening, so not only sugar and acidity, but also the phenolic and the organoleptic part, so the complexity of the juice. So I'm very happy. Of course, the production was very low because we had also not so much for me, but in general, there was a frost in May. And so we had less production in 17 in general. So you taste it, it's fresh, it's elegant, it's very good. The 18 was particular because it was raining a lot, not so much in May and June, but in July and August. So in August, it's so you don't need the water in August. So at the beginning of September, the grapes were huge and were, as I say, the fruit was big of water, like to say. But so we started to collect the grape. It was very good for the second choice. I remember was like the first plot was about 12 and a half in the second part of September, so 12, so low degree. And then there was 3 days of tramontana. I don't know how to translate tramontana. Is a wind very dry that dried the grapes. So on Monday we had like 14 degrees in the fruit, but so I really love the 18. It's nice because you know, it was raining, and then so I was not expecting a very, so to say, not only the alcohol, of course, but it was strange, and it's maybe more equilibrium. Of course, I respect the 14. The 14 was a disaster with the rain, so we had to work a lot. But the quantity and the quality in the 18 was very, very interesting. So to be honest, if I arrive other vintage like 18, it's okay.
Well, the wines are fantastic, and I think honestly, every time I've tried the single vineyard wines, I think the wines are better and better every single vintage.
Oh, grazie.
So,
Thank
yeah.
you. You know that I'm anxious as winemaker. So every year that I'm bottling the wine, so now we are bottling the 2020. In a month, we will bottle the single vineyard 20 and the Reserva 19 that will be on the market next year. Every year, I'm so anxious that I think it's less good than the vintage before, because I like so much the vintage before that I said, oh my God, it's terrible. Then I taste always, so I bottled the wine and I taste the wine like the bottled wine in September or October, because I'm really anxious and I don't know. It's 10 years that I'm doing my own wine, and I'm always anxious about the quality, or because when you are bottling, is the last moment, and you cannot do nothing after that point. So, so thank you to tell me that.
Yes. And the people who tasted the other vintages too, and this is their second time trying this side by side, they all agree they loved it before, but they love this vintage even more. So we can't wait to taste the next
year,
one.
so this year when you will receive the 19, it will be
yes.
No, but it's true. I think the same. To be honest, it's like so. See, every year I really like more, but I think maybe I'm more confident with the vineyard, with the barrel, with everything. Also, my people in the cellar is always better and better, and so it's a good team, and so I really hope to continue in this way and to do my best.
Well, I want to talk about what you do that's so different than so many other producers in Chianti Classico. Not many other people are producing single vineyard expressions of Chianti Classico. That is not very typical. And it's my favorite thing about what you're doing, and that it's all 100% Sangiovese, no grapes blended in there. So was this always your idea that you wanted to do single vineyard expressions, or was this an idea that was started by your father, or was this your idea, you wanted to express it this way?
No, my idea was always my idea. But I remember when I started, nobody was trusting in this project. Because they told me, you are crazy, you have to make a Reserva and a Chianti Classico and maybe a cru. But in that moment, the cru was most of the time was like Sangiovese and Merlot, Sangiovese and Cabernet, so Super Tuscan cru. So was not a Super Tuscan, but like just to, so. And it was often a IGT wine, even if it was in this territory. So first of all, I said, I'm from Chianti, I'm from Chianti Classico, in the heart of Chianti Classico. Why I have to produce a wine that is a Chianti Classico and call it IGT? Make no sense, because IGT, you can do it everywhere in Tuscany. So I want to say that is from here. So, so for this reason also the 3 single vineyard are Chianti Classico, because some people at the beginning told me, oh, make them as IGT, and say, no, make no sense. so everybody was telling something of negative about this project. So the first production in 2012 was just 2 vineyard, because Cavarchione was not productive that year, and it was 800 bottles each cru. And because I thought, okay, if the other people have reason, it's a good quantity to drink with friends. And so anyway, I think they had a great success, and in 2 months they were sold out. And my business in that moment was just Italian market, so it was so now, so 2012 were 800 bottles. Now we have we have 3,300 or 3,500 bottles per crew. So it's not so high, the production, but it's more. So yeah, it's now I think other wineries now they are starting to do this same project. I'm not sure, but I think 1 or 2 I heard that they do it. It was another challenge. So it was also for me a way to speak about the winery, because so you know, in Tuscany many winery were in the past noble, so maybe they have a castle, or maybe they have 100 of years of tradition. So it's a way to speak about the territory and my family, and to bring so to I'll say people can taste the wine and understand the territory. So bring the territory in their home. So I don't know how to explain you.
Yeah, and you can see it in the glass, tasting everything side by side. You can see the very specific differences. So I love it that the history of your family was to make the vineyard, and what you're doing is to express the vineyard. And I think that is such a beautiful how the history came, and then you took your idea, and it didn't matter if everyone thought you were crazy. You're brilliant, obviously, because these wines show it. So I can't wait to try single vineyard wines, Chiantis from other regions, and Chianti Classico would be amazing.
I hope so. I don't know, but now, you know, our consortium of Chianti Classico is working on UGA. It means Unità Geografiche Aggiuntive. Like in Piedmont, there is MGA. So in the future, you will find, for the moment, only the Gran Selezione, but probably in the future also other appellation with the different area of Chianti Classico. So Radda in Chianti, Gaiole, Panzano, Lamole, Greve, Castelnuovo, Vagliagli. So we will write on the label the UGA. So I think it's a very nice success for the consortium, and it's going in the direction that I love. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, that's excellent. Can you tell us a little bit more also about the Vinicoli Indipendenti that I know you're a part of?
Is another association. I am really proud to be part of this association. It's Vignaioli Indipendenti is exists also in France, like Vigneron Indépendant. They are more than us because they start to be association more years before than us. So they think are 9,000. We are 1,300, but we are improving. So there are Vignaioli Indipendenti also from Germany, from other parts. We share the same philosophy, the same way to produce wine. So we cultivate our land, we obtain our own grapes, we produce our own wine, and we sell our own wine. So we don't buy bulk wine or grapes to make the wine. So the association is an association that exists for lobby. So together, small producer all together, we can be stronger to speak with the government, for defend our rights. Because usually, the big company, they are the part that when they have to take a decision, always the big companies. So it's like the world in general. So it's nice because when you are in this group, you like the people, you meet people that are the same of you, from Piedmont to Sicily, same problem, same project, same with other territory and other instrument, but with different dialect. So it's huge because many friends also, and I think that stay together. It's way maybe to change something. If we are alone, no. so we have to be a group.
And I think the demand for wine buyers is growing to support the smaller producers, the independent producers,
Exactly.
the people that you can do a Zoom session with, the winemaker, and you can meet the winemaker, and you know that they actually are the ones in the vineyards and handling the winemaking process versus the very large mass-produced wines. So I think the demand for wines like that are growing, and so it'll be fun to see this on more and more labels and have discussions with customers about what it means, and that's exciting.
See, it's also the logo. The name of the man is Ampelio. Ampelio. It's of course it's something that we love to put on our bottle because first of all, we are proud of our job, of what we are doing, because the philosophy is also to respect the territory and to work on our territory. And so it's a way for the customer to know. So when you see this symbol on a bottle, you can understand easy how is the way to work of these producers, so that they take care of everything and work a lot. So I hope that other small producers can join the association, and me, when I'm in a restaurant and I see that there are some Vignaioli Indipendenti wines, I always order, because it's a way to support the other winery and people that do my job, and the wine usually are good, so it's perfect.
That's excellent. Yeah, supporting each other. So well, I just gotta say, it has been such a pleasure to having met you before, carried your wines before, but then met you and toured the vineyard, and now having 2 of these sessions. It's always a pleasure. Your passion for your projects and your enthusiasm and your inspiration and your creative vision for what the future is, that is really inspiring. And I know it's brave, because it's not easy sometimes being a younger woman in the wine business, when a lot of people want to tell you what to do and you want to have different
I'm come si dice, invecchiando. I'm aging.
feisty.
I'm becoming older than in the past. So I started when I was 30, now I'm 41. So yeah, it's anyway, it's not. So there are many wineries with, especially in Fivi, in Vignaioli Indipendenti. It's nice because you met a lot of woman winemaker, and it's nice because as I told you, it's like to be you give you strongness each other. It's nice, it's very nice. Anyway, in the wine there are many wineries with managed by women, but not always. So in Fivi you find a lot of winemaker, so that they cultivate, they go to pruning, they drive the tractor, and they So see, it's strong, but it's beautiful anyway. And so we love to do our job. And in the last 2 years with the pandemic, I really felt myself I say, okay, so you work strongly, but when you are doing the job that you like, you felt yourself lucky. So it's a choice. So you said, oh, I'm also good because I did a good choice in the past, because but especially you live in the countryside, that was different to live in the city during the pandemic. So so I said, okay, I'm lucky, but also a choice, this strong work. So
it is not easy work. It's very hard work. Yes.
It was very interesting. Many people drank a lot of wine, more than in the past. So I'm very happy that I can enjoy the evening of people at home. So
Yes.
So
yes, we have sold a lot of your wines throughout the last 2 years of the pandemic. So thank you for making your wines to sell. So yes, and providing some of the education that people can do from home if they don't feel comfortable going out. And when we couldn't go out.
You're doing a great job. You are a good ambassador.
Well, thanks. It's like you said, it's hard work, but when you love what you do, it's easy to make the choice to do hard work. So yes. Well, is there any last thing? I don't want to take your whole evening. It's my afternoon, your evening. And so is there anything last you wanted to say about anything you're doing in the future, or something we didn't discuss that you wanted to tell everybody?
So the future is always a surprise, and of course there is some project, but you will discover.
Okay.
But what I want to say, everybody, if you come in Italy, please come to visit me, because it will be a pleasure. We are open. So
I have 2 people who are going to be coming in June, and they're going to be staying in Rada, and so they're going to email you to set up an appointment and taste. And they came and tasted all your wines yesterday, so they can't wait to meet you in real life.
Benissimo, sì, that's a great pleasure.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time and your energy, your passion, and your delicious wines. I can't wait to try. I'm still waiting for that vermouth. I think I've got some coming in soon, so I can't wait to try that and the rosé soon. It'll be very exciting. So yeah, maybe one day the Merlot, but I might have to come to Italy for that.
In June.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Far.
Well, thank you so much. Grazie mille.
Grazie. Ciao a tutti.
Buonanotte.
Buonanotte.
Cheers.
Ciao.